WNYC, and we're going to check in on Albany now. The end of the legislative session is less than 3 weeks away, end of June. So we'll find out soon what bills make it into law. To catch us up, I'm joined by Rachel Silberstein, state government reporter for the Gotham Gazette. Rachel, is the game to pass as many bills as they can in each chamber and then negotiate?
The thing is, a lot of these bills, particularly surrounding electoral reform and ethics reform, they'll pass bills, but they will never be aligned with each other. So at the end of the session, nothing really is accomplished. For example, the Assembly passed a comprehensive package of bills regarding electoral reform, including early voting and automatic registration, and the Senate passed its own slew of bills, and it was almost completely not aligned except for something really minor, which allows inspectors to split election workdays into shifts. So that's sort of the hurdle and why it's so hard to get some of these things done.
Rachel, you mentioned the electoral reforms bill. Who's against that? Why is it so hard for New York? Why do states like North Carolina have early voting and New York State doesn't?
Well, Republicans in the Senate have done a calculation and realized that, and have come to the conclusion that if more people vote, they might lose the majority in the Senate, because at this point they're hanging on to a majority by a sliver of a majority only because of an alliance, because Senator Silberstein, who's a Democrat, is caucuses with them. Which kind of leads us to the next topic, which is about how recently Senate Democrats regained a numerical majority in the chamber, and now there's been sort of many calls from all different parts of the Democratic Party for Democrats to reunite and take back the majority.
Through the DNC, Democratic National Committee, Senator Gillibrand, on down to the Working Families Party. There was a joint statement, I believe, by all the Democrats in the New York House delegation to reunite the party in the Senate. And even Senator Felder, who is sort of a dino, a Democrat in name only. He's pretty conservative,
exactly.
Votes with the Republicans on a lot of things. Even Senator Felder is calling on these 8 other independent Democrats to rejoin the party. Why now, Rachel?
We recently had a special election where they replaced the seat of former Senator Bill Perkins was replaced by Brian Benjamin. So now they have that requisite 32 Democratic votes, if you count all the breakaway Democrats, to pass legislation. Leaders in the Democratic Party are saying, look at all this progressive legislation that we can't get passed, that gets held up by the legislature, by the Republican-controlled Senate, that we could get passed if we just united and utilize those 32 votes that we have.
Rachel, how about state single payer? I understand the Assembly has passed a bill that would institute full single payer in New York. In other words, government single payer as the sole insurance company, as the state, private insurance would be abolished in New York. And the Senate was within a vote, and maybe with this newly elected Democrat in the special election for that open seat, maybe they even have a majority now in both houses if the Democrats actually reunite. What's going on with New York State single payer?
So I think they have actually 30 co-sponsors on that bill in the Senate because Felder is not a co-sponsor. And with the new
So that would leave them a little bit short.
One short, exactly. And there actually have been protests in Bay Ridge. Some Democrats in Bay Ridge have been lobbying Senator Golden to be that 32nd vote.
He's a Republican.
He's a Republican, exactly. The only Republican senator in Brooklyn. So it's interesting that there is a little bit of a clash going on there, even among, Republicans for blocking this progressive legislation. It is a little bit, now it seems like there's increased urgency when on the federal level, President Trump's administration is threatening to repeal and replace Obamacare, and which would have, enormous repercussions for New York State.